My name is Annie. I'm 81 years old, and I am going to tell you something that took me years to figure out. Something I was too proud, too scared, and honestly too ashamed to admit. Because admitting it meant admitting I had a problem I didn't know how to fix. I used to be the one who called every Sunday, rain or shine. Didn't matter if I'd heard from them that week or not. Didn't matter if the last call ended with me talking to dead air while they watched television on the other end. Sunday came and I picked up that phone like it was my job. Like if I missed one, the whole thing would fall apart. I thought that was love. I thought that was how you kept people close. I was wrong. And it cost me years. Let me take you back to a Tuesday afternoon in November, a few years ago now. I was sitting at my kitchen table, the one by the window that faces the backyard. And the light was doing that low, thin thing it does in late fall, where it looks beautiful but doesn't warm anything. I had just gotten off the phone with my youngest, Angela. She'd picked up, which was already something. We talked for maybe 6 minutes. I know because I watched the clock. She had to go. Something about picking up Malik from school. Something about a work thing later. Something. There's always something. I set the phone down and I sat there in that kitchen and I thought about the last time any of my children had walked through my front door without me asking them to. I couldn't remember it. Not one time. Not in years. They came when I called. They came when I made the occasion important enough to feel guilty about missing. They came because I engineered the moment, sent the invitation, made the food, created the reason. If I stopped doing all of that, I didn't know what would happen. So I never stopped. I just kept calling. The first thing I tried, and I tried it for a long time, was making myself more useful. There's a voice in your head when your children pull away. It says, give them a reason to come. Be needed. Be necessary. Make yourself impossible to ignore. So I did that. I baked things and sent them home in foil pans. I offered to watch grandchildren when Rochelle had work conflicts. I called Marcus when I heard a sound in the pipes, even though I knew perfectly well it was just the radiator settling. I made myself small problems that required their presence. And it worked, briefly. Marcus came and looked at the pipes. Rochelle dropped off the kids one Saturday morning. Angela picked up a pan of cornbread when she drove past my street. But here's what I noticed. When they came for those reasons, they didn't really come. They came the way you go to the post office. Purposefully, efficiently, and with one eye already on what came next. They'd fix the thing or take the pan or pick up the children, and I'd try to hold them a little longer with an extra question, another cup of coffee, just one more thing, and I could feel them waiting for the door. I could feel their patience running. I was bribing my own children to spend time with me, and they were accepting the bribe and then leaving anyway. That's when I noticed something I hadn't wanted to look at. My oldest son, Marcus, steady, dutiful, never says more than he has to. He had this way of looking at his phone when he came over, not even hiding it, just checking it the way you check the weather. Routine. Like my house was a place he passed through, not a place he arrived. I didn't say anything. I never said anything. That was always my way. Clean it up and keep going. The second thing I tried was more honest, at least. I called Angela on a Wednesday night and I said, straight out, I want us to see each other more. Not because something's wrong, just because I miss you. And I meant it, every word of it. Angela's quiet got long enough that I counted it. Mom, she said, of course, we'll figure something out. We did not figure something out. That conversation happened 3 more times over the next several months. Different children, same conversation. I miss you. I want to see you. I want the kids to know me. Each time I said it, I felt a little smaller. Each time they said they'd figure something out, they meant it. I believe they did. But meaning something and doing something are not the same thing. Life moves fast when you're in the middle of it. I was no longer in the middle of it. I was at the edge calling inward. I tried one more thing after that. I stopped asking and started scheduling. I sent a message to the family. Dinner at my house. First Saturday of December. I'll cook everything. Just come. I spent 2 days on that meal. Made the things they asked for when they were young, the dishes they'd list if you asked them about their mother's cooking. I ironed the tablecloth. I set out the plates that only come out for occasions. Rochelle came. Teresa came briefly. Marcus sent a message the morning of something had come up, he was sorry. Angela called when she was supposed to be walking through my door and said she was still an hour away and should she still come, and I said yes, and she never came at all. I ate with Rochelle and Teresa that night. Rochelle left before 8. Teresa left before 7. I packed food into containers until 11 o'clock. I washed the good plates alone, put the iron tablecloth back in the drawer, stood in my kitchen in the dark for a while before I turned the light off and went to bed. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't sleep much that night. I lay there and I thought about my mother, Ruth, and the way she folded everything the same way, neat and quiet, never making her feelings anyone's problem. I thought about how I'd spent my entire life learning that same lesson. Handle it. Don't make a fuss. I had handled so much for so long, and somehow I'd ended up here, in a silent house, having handled myself right into invisibility. This is going to sound ridiculous, but I have to tell you. A few days after that dinner, I went looking for my reading glasses for 20 minutes before I found them sitting on my own head. I stood in the hallway mirror and stared at myself and said out loud, "Annie Mae, you are something else." And I laughed because there was nobody else to laugh with me, and because sometimes that's all you can do. If my memory was a person, I would have let it go years ago and not given it a reference. But then I stopped laughing and something settled in my chest that wasn't quite sadness and wasn't quite decision, but was somewhere between the two. I stopped calling, not angry, not as a punishment. There was no grand moment where I decided this was what I would do. It was more like I simply ran out of something. Not love. I had plenty of that. I'll always have that. I ran out of the particular kind of hope that makes you dial a number knowing you'll leave a voicemail. Sunday came and I didn't call. I sat at the kitchen table where the light comes in thin, and I drank my coffee and I read my book. I watched a cardinal sit on the back fence for a long time, doing nothing but being red and alive in the cold. I thought about Earl, the way he'd sometimes sit in that same yard without saying anything, just present in the way some people are present, without needing to fill the space. I hadn't thought about that in years. I didn't call that Sunday, or the next. The absence felt enormous at first, not peaceful, not righteous, just enormous. Like I'd removed something load-bearing from the house, and now I was waiting to see which walls would shift. 3 weeks passed. 4, I went about my days. I had somewhere to be on Thursdays. I won't say much about that except it got me out of the house and reminded me I was still capable of being useful to someone who hadn't asked for my usefulness out of obligation. A small thing, but it mattered. I was walking home one evening, in the cold, slow the way I walk now, and I passed by a yard where 2 kids were playing in the dark, just running around in the last little bit of daylight, not doing anything, just being outside in the world, easy and thoughtless. And I stood there for a moment longer than I needed to and felt something I hadn't felt in a while. Gratitude. Not for anything specific, just that I had legs that still carried me and eyes that could see those children running, and that the world was still doing what it always did, whether I called my children or not. I walked the rest of the way home and I felt okay. Not fixed, just okay. Angela called on a Sunday, 6 weeks in. I heard the phone and I looked at it for a moment before I picked it up, which I had never done before. I always picked up on the first ring, always. So they'd know I was there, so they'd know they could reach me. This time I waited and then I answered. "Mama," she said. She doesn't call me Mama much anymore. Not since she was a teenager. "I haven't heard from you. Are you all right?" I told her I was fine. She was quiet for a moment in that way Angela gets when she's trying to figure out what she's actually feeling. She's always been like that. The most honest of them all, and the one who takes the longest to get there. "Can I come see you?" she said. "This weekend, I just want to come see you." Not, "I'll try." Not, "I'll let you know." Not, "We'll figure something out." Just, "Can I come see you?" I said yes. She came Saturday afternoon. Malik was with her. loud and warm and knocking things over the way he does. And Angela sat at my kitchen table in the same chair she sat in as a girl, and we talked for almost 4 hours. Not about anything urgent. Not about problems. Just talked. About her work and my yard, and a movie Malik wanted to see, and whether I still made that one soup she remembered. She helped me with the dishes before she left, and when she hugged me at the door, it wasn't polite. It was real. I stood in my doorway after her car pulled away, and something was different in my chest. Not heavy, just present. The way things feel when they're true. Rochelle called the following week. Said she'd been thinking about me. Said she wanted to stop by if that was all right. Marcus came one afternoon without much warning and fixed the latch on the back gate that I'd been meaning to mention. He didn't say much about it. He just noticed it needed doing and did it, which is exactly how he shows love, always has been. I just hadn't been there to receive it quietly in a long time. They didn't all come back. Teresa is still Teresa, which means I hear from her when I hear from her. Anthony is far and has always been far in ways that have nothing to do with geography. I've made my peace with that. Not all the way, but enough. What I noticed was different about the ones who came back was how they came. No performance, no ceremony, no foil pans or manufactured reasons. Angela sat in my kitchen and complained about her job. Marcus fixed a latch. Rochelle came by one afternoon, and we watched television together for 2 hours and barely said anything. It was ordinary. That was the whole point. It was ordinary enough that it could just keep happening. I've thought about why it worked, in the way you turn something over when you're trying to understand it. And I think it was this. For years I had been filling every silence with my own need. Not loudly. I was never one for loud, but constantly. Every week, every call, every invitation, every foil pan at the door, I was always there, always reaching, always making sure they knew I existed. And when you do that, people don't have to look for you. You're already there. Your background. You're the thing that's always been there and will always be there and doesn't need anything because she never says she does. When I went quiet, something changed in the space between us. Suddenly, they couldn't assume. They couldn't count on Sunday calls. They couldn't take for granted that I was fine, that I was managing, that they didn't need to check. The silence made me real to them again. Not a role, not a fixture. A person who could one day not be there. I didn't do it cruelly. I didn't do it to punish anyone. I did it because I couldn't keep pretending the reaching was mutual when it wasn't. And somewhere in that honesty, that simple private honesty, something shifted. I'm 81 years old. I've raised 6 children. I've worked jobs that wore my hands out and kept my mouth shut in rooms where I should have spoken and spent decades making sure no one could see when I was struggling because that's what you did. That's what was required. I am still that woman. That part doesn't go away. But I'm also someone who has learned late and slowly and sometimes painfully that you cannot love people into closeness. You can only make yourself someone worth being close to. And sometimes that means being still enough, present enough, real enough that people have room to find you on their own. There is something I'm grateful for that I didn't expect to feel. I'm grateful for the years I called, even the ones that cost me, because they showed me what I was doing. And I'm grateful for the years since, the quiet ones, the ones where I learned to sit in my kitchen with the thin November light and not need anyone to come through the door for that to be enough. I'm still here. My children still come, the ones who come. And the ones who don't, I love them from where I am. It's not everything, but it's real. And real has always been worth more to me than the appearance of things. Thank you for sitting here with me a while. If you want to come back, I'll be here. That's all I can tell you. I'm not going anywhere just yet. Take care of yourself, whatever that means to you.